I'm here with Taylor from Restorative Injectables, and we are busting some myths about Botox today. I know I had a lot of misconceptions about Botox and was really afraid to try it, and now that I have, I love it. I think one of the biggest things that scared me initially, one of my friends, we were about 24 and she started doing it. I was like, oh my gosh, by the time you're 50, your face is gonna look insane. It's gonna be totally changed and too much Botox for too many years. And she kept telling me it was preventative and I didn't believe her, but actually it is.
It is very preventative. I think that's the biggest thing I get from people every single day are, if I start this now, what am I gonna look like when I'm 40 or 50 or even 60 for that matter?
Yes.
It is so preventative though, because if you think about what Botox is actually doing, so it's going into the muscle, it's paralyzing or relaxing that muscle for a period of time, which wears off. But if we are not moving that muscle for the next year, that area of your face is not aging, specifically from muscle movement, but you're not actually getting those wrinkles at rest or dynamic when they're moving too. So I always tell people it's great to start no matter what the age is, just when you start to notice that, hey, my makeup's creasing in there or things like that, little things that bug you for as a person, it's really good to start. So just by starting at a younger age does not mean that at 50 your face is going to be, if it's done properly. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves on, our conservative injections done in a timely manner. Most people do every 3 to 4 months. You may need it twice a year until you're in your mid-30s, and then we may bump it up. It just depends on how strong that muscle is. So it is preventative, and you're not gonna look crazy by doing it.
So is there a certain point where a wrinkle is too deep to fix?
So far, I've seen that as long as we stay on a Botox regimen, you can smooth that out a lot. Again, it takes a village, so we definitely recommend Botox. A little retinol in that area as well as all over the face will get really good cell turnover there too. So I definitely say you have to do the Botox even if it's deep because the muscle is what's causing it. And then if we've done a couple treatments and you still have the depth there are some other options.
Like, what if you get a bad Botox job? I mean, what do you do?
I always tell people, no question's a dumb question, and never walk around with Botox you don't love, because most of the time, as long as it's done conservative, we can fix things. So you don't want a frozen face because that leaves little room to fix things. So I always try to go a little more conservative, and then I say, okay, come back in a week to 10 days when it's kicked in. Let me look at everything. There are so many things that can be done. Bad Botox does exist though. You have to make sure you're going to a really good provider, someone with experience, someone who just understands facial anatomy. I think being conservative can help you prevent bad Botox, and then just knowing there are little tweaks that can be made, and we don't want you walking around with bad Botox.
Last thing I wanted to touch on is, obviously Botox is mostly used for wrinkles, but there's a lot of other things that it can help.
Yeah, so a couple of areas that are really popular in my practice, underarm sweating, which happens to the best of us. Yeah. It's really good, especially if you're in the workforce and you're going to work every day and you have to be in a suit or you're presenting in front of someone, maybe just nerves in general. Yeah. So it can be used for that. It's also really good for sweaty palms. I get a lot of guys who are like, I go on these dates and my hands are sweating and it's disgusting. I'm like, let me help you with your dating game. It's also really good for TMJ, so in the masseter. So if you're really grinding your teeth at night, or you feel like you have a little bit of a bulge here, you can go along the jawline with Botox, and it kind of slims the face out, and it helps with that too. So those are just some kind of random things that it's good for.
Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all the questions I have.
Yeah, so let's like map your face out, and we can kind of go over, show everyone what that looks like and kind of what a treatment plan is.
Great.
She doesn't have a ton of movement here. She's very subtle through here, but actually want a lift. Like, we don't want to pull down. So you may hear from people, oh, I got Botox and I was so heavy through here and I like a little bit more lift. I want my brows, obviously not like a spot brow out here, but you want just a little bit more of an open lift. and then a little bit higher up on these lateral portions. So that's just naturally going to allow her to pull open her brow, which I think she'll really like because this will be smooth, but you're gonna just have this very refreshed look, like you slept a ton, and we're all looking for that look. If anyone asks, hopefully no one would ever be able to tell. That's my job, to make sure no one knows you're getting Botox, you just look really good. And then pull down and frown. So she moves a little here, a ton of movement, but this is the time when she should take care of these things. This will help smooth that out and also give you a nice lift. And a little around the eye, so smile for me. Good. So she has just a little movement here. Again, not a ton, but these are the times where if she takes care of this now, she's not going to have to do very much as she continues to go on. Pull down again for me. Good, relax. We're going to do our last little pokes here. That's it. You are good to go. So I topped that off with just doing a little arnica on there. Arnica is really good post-injection and pre-injection. I always tell people it's great if you're doing lip filler or any other dermal filler to take orally. And you can get that at Whole Foods or Sprouts or anything like that. And then I also like to put it on topically after injections because it just takes the redness out a lot quicker. And then if you were to have any bruising, it will help with that as well. You can do this prior to your injections, like I said, about 3 days before, and then even up to 5 days after. So for the next 3 to 4 hours, I always tell people, I don't want you going to yoga. I don't want you to work out. And if you are going to lay down, make sure you just lay on your back. I don't want you laying flat, getting a massage. You don't need to rub it, massage it, anything like that by the time it kicks in. Usually people are like, oh my gosh, it's finally kicking in. It does take about 7 to 10 days to fully react. So I always say, give it that full amount of time, then we can touch it up at any point. But the biggest things today are this next 3 to 4 hour window. And that's it. You look great.